Hey everybody, happy Saturday, happy full moon day, happy what? Venus going direct day. That's huge. We have been in this reflective period. We had a long Mars retrograde, then we had the Mercury and Venus retrograde, and we're in a place now where things are going to actually start moving forward. But we've been reflecting on our communication, our relationships, on our money, on our values, on I did so many things, and it has felt so stagnant and like slogging through the mud. So from this point forward, we're going to get a break. We're actually going to start seeing some progress. And yes, the dogs are in here with me. Please pardon any whining or anything of that nature. There's been a lot of change for them too. Um, so again, I appreciate your patience. I mentioned it earlier this week. We've had a move, we've had me going back to work. There's been so many things that have changed, and they're still changing. But I feel like, even with my situation, and if you're in the same boat, that things are going to start smoothing out for us. So we're going to stick with that, right? Positive expectations. And for today, we're going to use the Rebel deck because it's kind of the weekend deck. It's the weekend vibe. It's what we do, right? And our topic for today is drop the fucking ego. Vulnerability is hot as fuck. You know what? And I got to tell you that's something that is a massive struggle. A massive struggle for I think for all of us. I know for me definitely being vulnerable is something that I decided very early in life I did not like and I did not want to do. And oddly enough, that made for very difficult relationships, um, because you really can't truly connect with another individual unless you're willing to be vulnerable. And it kept me from sharing my story. It kept me from having meaningful relationships. Everything was very surface level with me. And you wouldn't think so from the outside looking in. Like, people didn't really realize that about me. But at the same time, I knew that I only let people so close. And in reality, I shortchanged myself, uh, because I never allowed people to see me. And my guy and I were talking about that this weekend because I told him, I said, I said, this is going to sound ridiculous because I'm in my 49th year on the planet. I'm rolling on a half century. And it took me until just a few years ago to actually have authentic connections with people. Like, we have an amazing relationship because we're both vulnerable. We actually know each other, like who we are. Wow, that shouldn't be mind-boggling. But for me to be able to be on a public platform and share my story, or I share a lot of things in the Get Your Shit Together book. I couldn't have done that before because I would not have allowed anyone to know me at that level. And I think that for so many of us, this is why we feel so alone and isolated. We're not sharing authentic stories. We're trying to only allow people to know the parts of us that we want them to have access to. And don't get me wrong, I'm very cautious, and probably always will be, about who has access to me because there's so much falseness in our world. Look at social media. Look at the posts people put up. Very few people are telling you the full story. You don't see the struggles, you don't see the negative aspects of their life. It paints this beautiful picture of what's going on when that's not the reality. And we rob each other We rob the collective. We're robbing humanity of the opportunity to evolve by not being vulnerable and sharing our stories. Where if you open up and you share a part of your story, you'd be amazed how many people would feel relieved to know that they're not the only one. And how many of us have hidden behind a facade because we thought we were the only one until we meet someone else. We're like, what, you too? Really? Wow, I thought it was just me. All of a sudden, you feel okay again. But when you're looking at everybody's highlight reel and the people around you and what is truly just, I'm trying to think of the right word, but it's almost like that game Sims. I don't even know if it's still around, but you had an avatar that it was a pretend world, and you got to pick all these different things about this avatar that didn't actually exist. It's a digital, it's just a bunch of pixels on a screen. There's a whole community and, whatever, but so many of us are living empty lives in that way, of much more concerned about what the perception is on the outside than what's going on with us inside. How do we really feel about our reality? What what do we want? And are we willing to share our struggles, our hardships, who we actually are with the people around us? Are we really connecting at all? Because now we have the opportunity to be more connected than ever. And oddly enough, that being said, more people feel lonely, isolated, and disconnected than ever before. And it's my belief that our inability to be vulnerable is one of the reasons for that. We can go out and be around people, but if we're not connecting with them on a heart level, there really is no connection. So drop the ego. Quit worrying about what other people think. Find your joy, find your voice. Throw you, that real you, throw it out there. And like I said, the sooner people don't like you, the easier it is, because then you don't have to waste the time trying to establish a relationship with someone you probably wouldn't like either. Take the mask off. And if you can get in touch with who you really are, you're going to attract the people who connect with you, who are going to really get you. You're going to get them, and you're going to have a soul connection. It can be a friend, it can be a relative, it can be a partner, a business associate. But you're going to finally find that when you go out there as you, without the ego, without the facade, without trying to create some avatar life that you want everyone to believe you're living, when it's just you're going to find that you are so much happier. It takes so much less energy because you're naturally you. When you drop the mask, it doesn't take near as much energy to get through the day. And suddenly you find yourself surrounded by people who appreciate that version of you, and you feed them, they feed you. Your interactions are actually energizing and rewarding, and you feel good after being around these people. It completely changes your day to day. Know that if everyone likes you, there's something not right about that. You're probably being a chameleon and just trying to fit into whatever group you're with. And we learn stuff like that from when we're in school, social groups as we're growing up, different environments we have to be in. And there are different behaviors that you have around different environments. Like you're not going to go into um, a business meeting and behave the way you would if you're hanging out with your friends. There are different levels of you, if you will. And We can play those roles and still be authentic and still be vulnerable. It's just at different degrees. And we each have to find what we're comfortable with. And like for me, I had tried the white collar thing and I went into management, and you have to be very proper and reserved. And to me, that's exhausting and boring. I've primarily been in the blue collar world because I can just be me. I can show up in jeans and a ball cap, work all day, not have to worry about being prim, proper, and all this other stuff because that's not a part of the culture. So instead of trying to change the white collar world, I went to the blue collar world that embraced people like me. So sometimes it's just, you're just not in the right environment. And once you find the right environment for you, we've talked this week about time to go. What do we need to let go of and where do we need to go, and getting clarity and building blocks for our future and who we want to be and where we want to be and how we want to feel in our day to day. And it may be just where you're at, it's not safe to be vulnerable. It's time to go. Find your people, find your place, find where you're celebrated for the weirdo, eccentric person that you are. It's out there. Your people are out there waiting for you. Drop the ego. Your life will be so much better when you can just be you. It's so much less taxing to just be you. So I wish you the very best this weekend. And it's so hard. It's uncomfortable to be vulnerable, to allow ourselves to be out there. And the thing about it is that we really have to get solid with ourselves first. That's how we find the strength to be vulnerable. Because believe it or not, vulnerability is not only hot as fuck, it's also courage. There is nothing more courageous than the ability to be vulnerable, because you are standing in your power with appreciation for who you are as an individual without apology, and your sovereignty when you're able to be vulnerable. It is not a weakness. Weak people will not be vulnerable. And you are not a weak person. None of us are. We've been led to believe that we're weak. We are not. You are strong, and you are absolutely better than the ego version of you you've been running around as. So I challenge you to really look at areas in your life where you have refused to be vulnerable and how that has impacted your relationships or kept you from going after or achieving the things you really desire. And what steps can you take to change that? And there's a lot of information available. Again, I have the book that talks about how to really get secure in yourself and who you are, and without apology, going out into the world as you and not worrying about what other people think. Miley's very opinionated. Again, I apologize. They have struggled through a lot of the changes we've had here lately. And I promised them as soon as I was done with the video, we would have some chill time together. So she's over it now. But again, reflect. How has that impacted your relationships in the past, or your ability to go after things that you want? And how can you approach it differently going forward so that you can establish those building blocks, get that clarity, create the opportunities, and go for it? Time to go for your dreams. And in order to do that, we have to have the courage to be vulnerable. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope the rest of your weekend is amazing, and I will talk to you soon.